What does it do to your spirit? That's the one thing I don't think we talk about that very often. I was on opioids for one day for back surgery a few years ago, and not enough to get dependent. But the first thing I noticed was it transformed me inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like it crushes your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's one day of it. And you were on it for how long?
Years. You're definitely not the same person. It's linked. I have read, I don't allegedly, also linked to this suicide epidemic.
Of course.
It makes you a different person. And I try to be very careful about not pretending to be more pious than I am, but I do believe in spiritual war. And I do think that there is really something to ingesting stuff like that. I mean, something real, not just some chemical changes in your head.
I couldn't agree more. Can you flesh that out a little bit?
Well, yeah, I think you should be very careful tempering with allowing things into your body. The term spirits, that originated because my understanding of this is that term came from people thought you were putting spirits into your body.
Of course.
And you probably are. Now,
you're speaking of liquor, alcohol.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's absolutely no question.
So opioids are just that in a different form is what I would think. And, people get mad at me for this, but I think the same thing about other drugs. Like if you're communicating with some entity because of something you've taken, I think I would take that pretty seriously because you probably
people hate it when you say that. I've done those drugs, so I feel like I have as a child. So I feel like I have some authority on it. And I was talking to a friend of mine, someone I really, really, really like, the other day about it, and he was talking about, whatever, a trip, taking hallucinogens for good reasons, by the way. But he said I was visited by demons, and I said, "Do you think that they were real?" And he goes, "Oh no, they're real." I try not to be a judger because I have no basis for judging other people. Period.
Mm-hmm.
However, I wanted to say, well, if you think they're real, then maybe don't fuck with them at all. Like that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary. It's really scary.
It's terrifying. Yeah. I mean, even I went through an atheistic period. I'm genuinely deeply ashamed of that period of my life. I think I was mad at God more than not believing. Seraphim Rose writes some stuff about this. I can't remember where, but he says it's not that the atheist disbelieves in God, it's that he believes in God and doesn't understand him and is sort of therefore angry.
Of course.
It certainly described me.
I feel like the atheists have a better shot than people who just don't think about it.
Seraphim Rose said, not that I want to speak for anybody here, but he says in a follow-up to that, he says something to the effect of those people are actually more your brother than the people whose Christ is only on their lips.
Yeah. I mean, what do I know? But that sounds right to me.
Yeah.
So what was the effect of the opioids on your spirit?
Oh, I'm sorry. You keep trying to get me to answer
No, not at all. I just think it's interesting, and I rarely hear people talk about it. There's a lot of talk about the effect of opioids on your respiratory system. Does Narcan work? I think it's all important, and I'm not mocking it. However, the condition of your spirit may be more important than anything, and I never hear that discussed.
Yeah, well, you're not the same person. And I mean, that's what I mean with like bringing things into yourself. We use euphemisms like that. Like, well, I wasn't the same guy at that period of my life. Well, think about what that actually means. Like, what do you mean you weren't the same guy? If you believe in body, soul, spirit, or body, soul, mind, however you want to think of it, what do you mean when you say you were not the same person? Because did your soul leave and go somewhere else? What do you actually mean? And I think what you mean is that you have given controls the control of you over to someone or something else. I mean, that's the way I view it. And that, can be wrong, and it would sound like an idiot or whatever, but that is the way that I view it.
You don't sound like an idiot at all, and you're clearly not wrong, and that's like a central piece of Christian theology. I mean, Paul says at great length in Romans, this is Paul. This is like the hero of the early church. This is like one of the after Jesus, the founder of Christianity. And he's like, I do all these terrible things that I don't want to do. And that's because the sin, which he described as sin, is like taking control of me. Like something from outside came into me and is making the decisions. He says that. And I don't think that's far from the experience of every person who pays attention to his own behavior. Like you do kind of like, what is this exactly?
Yeah, you always want to figure out what's animating you.
Yeah.
And if you don't think about that, you're probably being driven by something. There's probably a reason you're not taking a step back to think about it, So when you say, what does it do to your spirit? I really believe that it's you've given control over to something else. And so it changes you in every way.
Here's the facts of life you may not learn until you're older, but I'm going to tell you now. It's very hard to have a good time if you're wearing bad boots. In fact, it may be impossible, and that's why you need Tecovas. As a matter of fact, you don't just need them, you owe them to yourself. Tecovas makes Western boots for everybody, ranchers, real ranchers, lifelong cowboys, first-time boot buyers, and anyone in between. Every Tecovas boot is handcrafted, made by hand, with over 200 meticulous steps for a broken-in feel right out of the box. You don't have to compromise between looks and quality. You can have them both. Whether it's a long day or a big night, Tecovas are built to last and impressed. You wouldn't believe the compliments people here get when they wear them out, which they do. Right now, get 10% off at tecovas.com/Tucker when you sign up for email and text alerts. That's 10% off at Tecova, TECOVAS.com/Tucker.
You become dishonest, angry, bitter, deeply depressed. And when I say angry, I mean at God. There's a line in there somewhere where he says, even the devils pray. I think that's kind of like that. It's like, what are the devils praying to God for? Because if we believe in a redemptive God, surely, and again, I don't want to get things wrong, and God forgive me if I am, but if we believe in a redemptive God, then they're not praying to ask for forgiveness, or else maybe they would be able to get it. I don't know. So what are they saying in their prayers? Well, they're probably bitter, saying, I cannot believe you did this to me, or whatever it may be. I don't want to speak for them either, and I want to be careful here, but I think the source of the bitterness, the root of it, is being angry at God, and I think opioids do that. And the minute I got
opioids make you angry at God.
I do think that. I do. And drinking too much, I think, does it. And
definitely,
anything that makes you not you is going to lead to that eventually. In fact, like all sin, they say, again, I don't want to pretend to know things, because I don't. But I think that the end result of all sin is ultimately anger at God. And what you're mad about is knowing what you have done, So getting off of those.
Let me just add a vehement amen to that. I totally agree.
Thank you.
And I don't understand anything either, that's for sure. And may I be punished for pretending I do, because I don't. But what you're saying is, I believe that's true.
Yeah.
So you get off opioids, what happens then?
It was crazy. What about, I don't want to misremember here, 10 days to 2 weeks later, it was so weird. Genuinely felt like a cloud had been lifted from my vision. Like the world felt and looked different to me 2 weeks later. And I don't know how to describe it beyond it. Just everything felt to some degree pretty again. And like that my mind actually worked again, rather than just thought negative things all the time. I could like think about the things I cared about. And
how long were you on them, do you think?
Boy, like probably probably like 5 years.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Well, it's the first half of your 20s.
Yeah. When you're the dumbest person you're ever going to be on top of that. I had gotten to where I was taking way, way less, but I still like had, I had those hooks.
Yes.
And then just getting rid of them altogether was totally life-changing. And within like 2 years, all of a sudden I felt like the same person again. And I usually connect that. It's funny we're having this conversation because I had never thought about it in these terms. I usually connect that to being able to run and hike again and going bow hunting. And I wonder if it wasn't actually like the time away from that thing. I'm sure it mattered. Yeah, so it transforms you into a different person, totally different person.
You said that you lost 2 friends from OD, accidental, I guess, OD.
Mm-hmm.
But you must have known a lot of other people who were also on opioids for years.
Mm-hmm.
Did they recover?
No.
Oh, gosh.
I know one person, and I don't want to give too much information because I don't want to like hurt his feelings or something, but he looks like a different human being now. I mean, it's been so long. I saw a picture of him recently and I hadn't seen him for a couple of years. And I had to look at it for like 5 minutes because it just didn't even look like the same guy, I have another family member that went through the same experience, looks like a totally different human being now. The one friend who physically, like face, like a different guy.
Pardon my ignorance, like what are the changes like for long-term opioid use?
I don't know. The look on them is like shrunken, their eyes look different, like deeply set.
So it's not just a weight loss or gain. It's like deeper than that.
I think so. Like the spark is gone,
Yes.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.